Ever since Nintendo released the Switch in 2017, it has made very strong sales and doesn't show any sign of slowing down, which is probably why in 2019, Nintendo released a cheaper version of the Switch called the Switch Lite. This is William from Wink Tech, and in this review, I'll be giving my thoughts on the Switch Lite after owning it for about a year now, and why I think it's still a good buy in 2024. First of all, Nintendo's no stranger to making budget versions of their consoles, with products such as the DS Lite, 2DS, and Wii Mini. The goal of the Switch Lite was most likely to make their console more accessible at a lower price, but it does have a few key drawbacks which I'll go over. Let's start with the specs. The Switch Lite features a 5.5-inch 720p touchscreen, a custom NVIDIA Tegra processor, 32GB of storage which is expandable via microSD card up to 2TB, and features a USB-C port for charging. Compared to the regular Switch, it does have a smaller display, but the major difference is that the Lite model works in undocked mode only, and does not have the ability to be connected to a TV. This does also mean that it doesn't have detachable Joy-Con controllers, since there won't be too many use cases with a portable-only console. This means that this does narrow down the target market to people only looking for a portable console, and for that it is great. The reason I went for the Switch Lite as opposed to a more expensive model is that I did not intend to use the Switch for anything other than portable gaming. Depending on the individual, this may or may not interest you. Since I already have an Xbox Series X to do most of my TV gaming, I didn't really feel the need to use a Switch with the TV. I also wanted a dedicated console for portable gaming, which is useful for things like traveling or commuting on public transit. Next, let's talk about the software. The software is very basic on the Switch, but I don't think it needs to be complicated at all. It uses an interface pretty similar to the PS4 and PS5, with apps and games being laid out horizontally, and has some functions on the bottom such as settings, controller pairing, screenshots, news, and the Nintendo eShop for buying games and downloading apps. At the top left of the screen you'll find your profile. This is where you can see stats, which friends are online, and more. Overall, it's pretty simple, easy to navigate, and fast, although I would say the eShop is the only place where I find it is a little slow. When you download games, you can either store it on the onboard 32GB storage, which fills up pretty fast, or you can get a microSD card, which is what I did. The one I got is the 128GB Sandisk Extreme Pro, and you probably won't need a card that fast, but it was on sale, and Sandisk is a great SD card brand. I'll also link it in the description in case you are interested. You also have the option of buying games as physical cartridges, which is an advantage on the Switch since most of the game can be stored in the cartridge itself, so there's no downloading required. Moving on to the hardware characteristics, the Switch Lite comes in 4 colors, not including special editions, which are gray, blue, turquoise, and yellow. I have the turquoise one here. I probably would have gotten gray, but at the time of purchase it was quite hard to find, so I went with the turquoise, which still looks pretty decent in my opinion. It's worth noting that if you aren't a fan of the colors or you want to customize the look, dbrand has a lot of skin options which are high quality and won't leave any residue if removed. The Switch Lite features 2 joysticks, the 4 buttons, which are more of a soft press, as well as a D-pad, which is pretty cool since the regular Switch has buttons as opposed to a D-pad, so that Joy-Cons can be detached and used independently. It also has shoulder buttons and triggers, although the triggers are actually just buttons. Up top you have the power button, volume rocker, headphone jack, cartridge slot, and fan exhaust. On the bottom you have your microSD card slot and stereo speakers. Overall, the Switch Lite has a nice feel in the hand and is pretty light, which makes it great as a portable console, and you can easily bring it anywhere. So how does it perform in games? Well, performance has never been a strong suit or focus for the Switch, and it really shouldn't be. Since the Switch is meant to be able to be played docked or portably, it makes sense that it wouldn't have super powerful graphics. However, the graphics are pretty decent considering the price point and portability of the console. Games still look pretty good, especially on the smaller screen, and most importantly, there's a large library of fun games. I don't have that many games yet myself, but I have gotten a few and I've really been enjoying Mario Odyssey especially. Despite the lack of graphical power, Nintendo still manages to make immersive and unique games. Since the Switch has been out in 2017, there is already an extensive list of exclusive games such as Mario Odyssey, Mario Kart, Super Smash Bros., Zelda Breath of the Wild, and Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. One drawback with Nintendo games I would say is the pricing. Nintendo is known for high-priced games and having very few sales or price decreases on its own games. Most first-party games are the same price as when they were released, but you can find sales occasionally or buy them used. There is also the Nintendo Switch Online subscription, which gets you access to online multiplayer for paid games. This means that you will still be able to access multiplayer on free games without having to buy Switch Online. Switch Online is $30 a year for the base tier and $60 a year for the higher tier. The higher tier includes games from the GameCube, Game Boy Advance, and N64, in addition to NES games included in the base tier. Additionally, the higher tier comes with free DLC for games such as Luigi's Mansion 3 and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. But personally, I don't think the higher tier is worth it, so I'd stick to the lower tier if you need multiplayer functionality. So in conclusion, do I think the Switch Lite is still a good buy in 2024? Absolutely, but only if you know what you're getting into. If you are fine with only using the console portably, then the Switch Lite is perfect for you. With a lower price, more portable design, and everything you need included, you couldn't ask for a better portable console from Nintendo. If you have even a slight possibility of wanting to play on the TV, I would say to skip the Switch Lite and regular Switch and go straight to the OLED. This is because you can often find the OLED on sale, making it very close in price to the regular Switch. So at that point, it's definitely worth it to go for the Switch OLED. It is also worth noting that rumors say that the next generation Switch will be releasing sometime in the next year or so, but knowing Nintendo, who knows how long it'll really take. In my opinion, if you really want a Switch, you can still hop on that train. Well, that's about it for this review. Please let me know in the comments, what do you think about the Switch? Do you have one, or are you planning on getting one? If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing for more content just like this. This has been William from WinkTech, and I'll see you in the next video.